I know it's very warm and we sort of feel a bit melted. Yeah, I know, but we're going to get through this hour and speak about this tough subject. Actually, it's about innovation, understanding the Swiss ecosystem and its funding opportunities. For that, we have an amazing panel. And yes, there you go, under pressure straight away. We have Lennig Pedron, Director at Trust Valley. We have Marcel Hofstetter, Scientific Officer at Innosuisse. And we have Sylvain Jaccard, Director for Swiss Romande of SGE. Thanks very much for being here. Without further ado, I will go straight through questions in alphabetical order. So I will start with you, Marcel. And would you say a few words about Innosuisse, about your role, about your motivation, what you used to do, what you do now, please?
Thank you. So first and foremost, thank you very much for having us. It's really a pleasure to be back physically, to see each other and to really have this physical interaction again after such a long time. So we've really been longing for such events. So my name is Marcel Hofstetter. I work at Innosuisse. Innosuisse is the Swiss Innovation Agency. It's the pendant to PPI in France. And my role is I'm responsible for the internationalization program of the Swiss startups. That includes mainly two offerings. One is we help them to showcase their innovations at international trade shows, and the other is internationalization camps. It's a tailor-made, customized service that we really help them to set foot in foreign markets, explore, validate the market, and then accelerate their expansion abroad, Switzerland. Another question was the motivation and what I did before. So I joined Innosuisse coming from Novartis, a large enterprise, pharma enterprise in Switzerland, multinational. I've worked in different capacities there, first in sales, then in medical, and in the end also in marketing, and also in different countries. Before that, I've been a researcher at the University of Bern, where I also initiated a startup in the biotech industry that is today known as Alveolix. And my motivation, or why did I join Innosuisse? So personally, I have two main motivations. One is really the learning experience. So I immerse myself in many opportunities into something completely new, starting as a student, going into the entrepreneurship path as an entrepreneur in a startup environment. So that was an amazing learning curve for me. Then I wanted to join deliberately large pharma because I realized, I mean, you're always scarce at resources as an entrepreneur. And then there's, on the other hand, there's these large organizations that seem to have limitless resources and really specialists in all domains. So I wanted to go there and learn from the specialists how business is being done. So that's what I did. Then also within Novartis, I changed several times my role. When the opportunity presented itself, I went abroad, also immersed in a completely different culture, in a country where I couldn't speak the language. So that was also a huge learning experience. And then at some point, this opportunity presented itself at Innosuisse. It's a complete different environment. It's the government administration. And that was then really my call when I felt I can now move from a specialist role into a generalist role and expose myself to this new learning experience. And then the second dimension of it was really, I always strive to have the most impact in my work that I do. As a researcher, I was trying to publish with the highest impact papers, obviously, so that people really see my work. As an entrepreneur, I really wanted to go into the market and sell my product as fast as possible. Within Novartis, I wanted to provide benefit to most patients possible. And now within Innosuisse, I strive to help as many startups as we can. So these are just two main motivations I have to do what I do in my life.
Thank you, Marcel. Interesting. Same kind of question to you, Sylvain. What do you do? What does SGE? And yeah, tell us about it.
With pleasure, very challenging speaking just after Marcel. So it's a great pleasure for me as well to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation and being partner of this great initiative as a bridge. So as already mentioned, normally I am based in Lausanne, so in French part of Switzerland. I'm responsible for our organization, Switzerland Global Enterprise, for this part of Switzerland, but I'm very happy to be here in Zurich. I am once a week in Zurich because our headquarters is in Zurich. Today we speak about creating bridge between two countries, France and Switzerland, but it's also our job to create bridges between the three regions we have in Switzerland, three cultures, three languages, and three innovation systems. So for us, Switzerland Urban Enterprise, our main activity to support Swiss small and medium-sized companies for exporting, meaning we support around 5,500 companies a year in several sectors, and not only to France, but to many countries. We are based in more than 30 countries worldwide, meaning concretely, it's for a startup like you, interesting to develop your business abroad, starting with the first question, where exactly, which market could be very interesting for me, with my product, with my service, or with my resources as well, because it's a topic as well. Maybe we will come back later on to this point specifically. And then really to develop the customer journey, the startup journey, meaning, okay, market information, market selection, and then how to create a bridge with this market, how to identify and select the right and the correct partner, the correct clients, and then all administrative and technical question, custom clearance, taxes, certification, etc., etc. So really the whole startup journey from selecting the correct market up to exporting concretely your product or your service. So it's our job, daily job.
Right. So according to you, many people working there. How many employees actually for SG worldwide?
More or less 200 persons. So yeah, so 100 in Switzerland, 100 worldwide.
Oh, right. Okay. That's a huge company. Regarding Trust Valley now, yes. Can you tell us a bit more about the programs?
Yes, sure. I'm Lenny Pedron. I am the executive director of the Trust Valley. I'm very pleased to be with you today. And the Trust Valley is a public-private partnership initiated by the state of Vaud and the Republic of Geneva. We have 3 levels of partner, public like the state. Also, we work with Innosuisse and other kind of partner. We have also academics like EPFL, so it is the École Polytechnique of Lausanne, also UNIL, University of Lausanne, University of Geneva, and also Graduate Institute in Geneva, who is cover more about governance of internet. So we worked also with industrial as such a large company as Sekpa, Kudelski, Waiski, SGS, and such other healthcare. And we work also with Geneva, with the GCSP, Geneva Security Policy Center, and it's really an ecosystem. And what we done in the Trust Valley, we are a really young initiative because we were launched at the last October last year. And what we done, it was to launch a first project before launch the Trust Valley, just to test the ecosystem and have to see if Switzerland is a good place to make something local, at really local with a lot of SMEs also, and with a really international view. And the name of the project is Tech for Trust, and I will speak about Tech for Trust. It's a startup program. It's really to boost startup, to accelerate startup, to go to the next level together. And I will explain to you a little bit more after that.
Excellent, many thanks. Then perhaps another question to Marcel regarding innovation. Is it a key to success? So it's really to set up the scene about the Swiss ecosystem.
Yeah, thank you, Isabelle. So I work at the innovation office in Switzerland. We promote innovation, so it's our daily business. And yes, obviously, I see it as a key to success. But if we look back in our recent history, I mean, the last 15 months have just shown us, demonstrated that everything can go upside down in just a few weeks and months. And we have all gone through like really disruptive changes. We had to go through these changes. And the only thing that really helps us and secures us to be successful also in the long term, at least from my understanding, is to continuously innovate. So I would say definitely Yes, so it is the key to continued success.
And Switzerland is a good place actually to innovate, isn't it? I guess you're all really convinced about that. So in terms of experts, you mentioned already sort of a ride to a startup, but can you elaborate about the ride?
Sure. You know, we meet a lot of startups all around the year in different fields and different events or target markets. And so we have a huge experience and very good overview about how doing business for a startup abroad. So I think the key element is to have the right support, because you have the right product, probably for sure, you have the right service, and you are convinced probably you are the best. So it's not a question, but then how to get the best support you can receive in Switzerland. I think it's one of the reasons we are here together on the stage, because we also try to create bridges between us, the Swiss support organizations, right, at the federal level or supracantonal level or regional level. Because at the end, being successful worldwide, it's really a long story and a long journey. And many times when we speak with startups starting with a business development abroad, they come to us with the impression, okay, it will be probably an easy doing way because I am online or I am active in the e-commerce sector. So I am automatically worldwide active, and I can be able to sell worldwide just to press a button. So we have to start discussion with, okay, guys, you are the best for sure, but okay, cool down, and we will start discussion. Okay, what is the best market? The best market for us first is Switzerland or France for the French startup. So meaning we think we have to be successful in our domestic market first. If we don't have any client in the domestic market, it's another story. But if you can find a client around you, I think you should be successful first in your domestic market, and then looking on other markets. So then it's really for being successful is really the idea to contact the correct organization. We have many support organizations in Switzerland. The difficulty probably is to know which one to contact first. So it's the reason why we created already bridges between us with Innosuisse, for instance, for participating to trade fairs around the world, for instance, the CES Las Vegas, for which we will start the registration early July. So if you're interested in having a place at CES Las Vegas, like you, Caroline, you had last year, and many other startups here were also present with us in Las Vegas, don't hesitate to contact us. And then with the Trust Valley, starting with the Tech for Trust together and supporting the Trust Valley. So to have the correct contact, the correct support on time, I think is a key element for being successful for a startup abroad. Because as I said, it's a long story, it's a challenge, you need a lot of resources, human resources, and financing as well. So I think the wrong approach would be to go alone, to say, okay, I already have some contacts here and there, and I am able to go alone. No. Please contact us. We are public service organization, right? And we can support you free of charge. So don't hesitate to contact us. I think it's the best advice.
Okay, it's a way to have a good start. Yeah. Definitely. Regarding you, Lenny, at Trust Valley, how many startups do you have on board, and how does it work?
Yes, we have nearly 40 alumni right now. It was not decided at the beginning to have some alumni, but all the startup asked us to continue the journey with us. And it's now our third season. We are scouting, so a startup, you can go and discuss with us, and we will explain to you what is Tech for Trust for you, the benefits of this kind of program. And what we really want to do is to continue to work in ecosystem, but not ecosystem like a buzzword. We really work in ecosystem and find some way to go with peer-to-peer, but not only with only startup, with SMEs, because we have a lot of captain of industry. We like to really have this word, captain of industry, because when you are on board a CEO of SMEs, you have to understand what is the field all the days. It's really important to work really strong with your partners, and also some large group, large company with a lot of competence and skills and really some high level of investor too. It's really important to have this kind of investor to go to the next level, and it's really that. So we work to take each startup with a maturity level and go to the next level. It's not the same journey for all the startups. We really work on that, and it's really like economic development. So we have no coach like what you can imagine. It's really some CIO and or sometimes some legal part, and we are working on to go deeper with HR, because really the market is ultra dry in cybersecurity and digital trust. So we really need to have some support on very high level support of talent. Yeah.
So it's like 160-degree mentoring and empowerment.
Yes,
So
it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So Marcel, you did so many things already in the past. According to you, where does innovation come? Is it from market needs, or is it scientific findings? Chicken and egg question.
Yeah, chicken and egg question. And I think the answer is it comes from both sides. But I think the smarter question to ask is, when is it most efficient? And then I would say it's definitely when it's need driven. So if you identify a certain need and then you find a solution to serve that need, then I think then you're most efficient to bring that innovation to market. And for me, just to maybe a little comment, personal comment, I consider innovation once it's really implemented. Not if you find something in the lab that you feel cool and you think it's the best thing, everybody will use it at some point, but really if these people then use it, then the innovation really made it to the market, and then you're really innovating, and not before. And I think that's not that easy as everyone may think. And this is exactly what Silvia mentioned before. You may have an idea in mind, but you may need partners to bring that idea really to reality and to have people to really use your innovation on a daily basis. And that's really what's needed.
Would you have an example?
Well, there's many examples. I mean, I take my own experience as an example here. So when I started as a PhD student, we worked on microfluidics. That was like nearly 15 years ago. At that time, very few people have heard of that. So that has been really an emerging technology. But we at the time were really already thinking about replacing clinical trials with what we called human on a chip models, so that you have really just an in vitro model that replaces a human being and helps you to make better preclinical decisions of which drug to bring into clinical trials. And that was like 15 years ago. And we thought, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Everybody will use it at the time. Still today, we're not really further down the road. They're still considered as an alternative, but only to in vitro models. We're very far from replacing like clinical trials. And I think it needs time, it needs energy, and it's continuous passion of entrepreneurs like the people in the room here to make these things happen in the near future and to change the world for the better. Because I think that's what entrepreneurship is, and where entrepreneurship can really be most efficient to change the world for the better.
Lots of energy there. In terms of experts, you said a lot about the operations, but then in terms of timing, how important is timing about experts?
It's a key element, I think, and please don't make the mistake to think that because we know each other between France and Switzerland quite good, it will be easy. So for Swiss startups, it will be easy to penetrate the French market and vice versa. It's not because from French part, for instance, we speak more or less the same language. It will be easy. No, it's another world. It's really another perspective of doing business for a Swiss perspective or a French perspective. So timing is key, and your timing about your related to your development planning is not for sure the same timing as your market. And I think it's a key element to have a good overview about your market, your target market. Okay, is it the correct timing? Is it the correct timing for you, for your customer, and for your competitors? Because for sure you have, I started my career launching a startup, so I know this perspective as startup. And we always had the impression, okay, we are the best and we are the first. The best, maybe, we have to discuss about it. And the first, for sure not. So on this perspective, you have to evaluate as well, okay, the timing of my competitors, my positioning in between, and okay, then developing a business in France is maybe 3 years, developing a business in the US probably 5 or 6 years, and developing a business in China or in Japan is 10 years. So I think it's quite really important to think about the timing.
Indeed, indeed. It's good enough to be smart, but not only. Lenny, so if you take an example of a startup throughout your program, can you just elaborate how does it work, or give an example? Up to you.
Okay, I will tell to you 3 small stories about 3 startups. The first one is Jaccard. It was unbelievable to work with the founder. When he arrived in TechFortress season 2, he was alone. It was really like a one-man show. And when he finished the program, there were 7, so 6 months after. So it's a big challenge to recruit 6 people during the winter and to find the good talent and go to the next level with customer. And second thing is about Jaccard too. At the beginning, I think it was not really clear for him what he can have as benefits by the TechFortress, and he began to work with the other startup, and he was really, I think he found that he were in a good way with his customer and his partners, but he found some another way to work, and this is really what he found. And another thing it was about the roadshow, because we have a Swiss tour, but now we have an international tour because we are going also in the US, and this year we'll go in the north of Europe with Oslo. So what is done, it's really to finalize, to sign, is a big client. It was Volkswagen, the D-Day of the final. So it was incredible for him. And it's really like this kind of story that we can find, like, for example, Strong Network. Strong Network is really the second startup of Laurent Balmeli. He is a really, I can say that, a serial entrepreneur from Canton de Vaud, state of Vaud. And what he done, it's a first exit with Strong Code. Strong Code was sold to Snapchat. And the team thought that they need a new tool to be more secure, to manage IP on the other for themselves. And what they done is to create this kind of tool. And after that, they said, but if we need that, for sure, other startupper and other SMEs and large group needs this kind of tool. So they try to go with this new startup, and what I can say to you is they are very strong at this time, and they were finalists to our roadshow in the US with Silicon Valley, and they are working now for a POC, a proof of concept with 2 corporates in the Trust Valley area. So we have this ecosystem who can help startup to have some POC, to go with an investor, because it's always a big issue when you are a startup, you put all your funds on your startup, and really you don't know if you have to go with a business angel, with a corporate, or with, for example, another kind of investor. So what we can give with this kind of ecosystem, it's a way, a path to go.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Marcel, how would you qualify actually the Swiss ecosystem? What do you think is very specific, perhaps the Swissness of it?
That's a tough question.
I know you like it.
Maybe first a comment. I really liked your last little story, because it really shows that there was a need at the basis that was being identified by the entrepreneur. Then he developed a solution on his own because he had that need. And then he thought, oh, maybe there are others that have the same need. And indeed, it turns out now he has a viable business out of it. So that shows exactly what I tried to explain before. If you come from the need, you always find others who have the same need, and that helps you to build the market. To your question, that's a really tough one. I think what it requires from us is, or from me personally as a Swiss person, is to put out glasses from a foreigner and look at Swiss and what qualifies Swiss, what are the criteria that stick out as Swiss. And the first thing that comes to my mind is quality. So Switzerland is considered as high quality country. If I look at the ecosystem, I think it's fairly complex. So there's many players, and I think that's also characteristics of Switzerland, because we are so diverse, not only language and cultural wise, but every little canton has its own little state rules. And that's one of the strengths, I think, that Switzerland has, because it forces people to put themselves also in the other shoes. That includes also entrepreneurs who have to think from the beginning, how would maybe someone from another part of Switzerland react to this, where maybe the other colleagues who has the same need as I have. And then you, as Switzerland is a very small country, right from the beginning, you have to think globally, because your local market is not typically large enough to convey business on the long term. So you have right from the scratch, you have to think globally. And we know from literature that startups who internationalize early are more successful in the long term. And I think this is also one of the characteristics of Swiss entrepreneurs and the Swiss ecosystems. So to summarize, we have a complex, large landscape, diverse, with many partners involved, lots of support that is there, governmental, regional, you mentioned it, so across everywhere. We have really strong research institutes. We have top-notch people that decide to become entrepreneurs, while they are so top-notch that they could be employed by any large corporate. So these are all types of characteristics that just come to my mind. I cannot pin it down to a few things. Maybe my colleagues can add here. Trust certainly is also one of the key arguments of the Swiss ecosystem, wouldn't you? What did you say, Lenny?
Yes, it is. It's for that with the Trust Valley, we don't stay only on cybersecurity, because at cybersecurity, it's always like a cost or something who gives you the headache. Really, for the customer, and a lot of people, it's like that for CEO. What we really want to do with the Trust Valley, with digital trust, it's to put that like a more competitive action, be in really an ecosystem who can afford some benefits to your client, but not only just cybersecurity to protect, but go to the next level and really be competitive in all markets.
Yeah, Silvia, you're certainly with your 100 colleagues who are located abroad. I mean, what's your opinion, and what do your colleagues say about Switzerland and how it differentiates maybe from other startup markets?
It's a very interesting question because the second mandate we have from the SECO is to promote Switzerland for attracting foreign investor and foreign investments to Switzerland. So Switzerland is unique, probably unique because, as you already mentioned, the ecosystem is a little bit, I would say, bizarre, meaning in a small country, 42 or 43,000 square kilometers, 8.5 million inhabitants. We have 3 languages, three cultures, but we are very open to the world because we are a very small country, a very small market, and for us, for our Swiss small and medium-sized companies, also for the corporate companies, it's a must to be very quickly open to the world. So if you are curious, if you are open-minded, if you speak languages, if you are open to the world, for sure you will be successful in Switzerland. So it's okay. It could be complicated to speak and to understand as foreigners our system, political system with a canton. We have 26 states in a so small country, etc. But it doesn't matter as a political aspect. For doing business, it's something else, and it's not so difficult. And exactly our goals, together with the Trust Valley and with Innosuisse and with many other organizations you have in Switzerland to support you if you are already based in Switzerland, or if you wish to set up a company subsidiary to Switzerland to support you to be as soon as possible active internationally. So don't worry about Switzerland. We are very open, we are very curious. We need innovators, we need innovative companies. Yes, Switzerland is a high quality. Switzerland could keep the image as expansive country as well, but at the end we have all facts and figures to show you is not exactly the case at the end of the month. So don't worry about this aspect of Switzerland. So if I can resume, is really you are innovative, open-minded, speak languages, and you are curious and open to the world, come to Switzerland and develop a business in Switzerland. You will be successful.
Oh, we'd be happy actually to change reputation about Switzerland being very expensive, and especially for investors, that's the case, but I'm sure that we're here to change that as well. Lennig, would you say that cyber secure Switzerland is a massive competitive advantage, to say that we have differences here that others don't have? So it's a way to a competitive edge. What do you reckon?
Yes, it is. We are in the heart of Europe, as said by our partners, Sylvain and SGE. We have a lot of things to go to be competitive because of the stable of the political system, for sure. And but not only, I think the way to see the business model on the new kind of business model is really great, because you can create and test a lot of new kind of idea, and it's really not a problem if it's not going well, because you can go with your ecosystem and go with your partners and find another way to sell it. And yes, I think for this kind of things, the Switzerland is really the best place to go with this kind of business. Also, what we can see in Trust Valley ecosystem, it's we have the long with EPFL and University of Lausanne about the technical side and a very high level, worldwide level. But also we have the Geneva, International Geneva with all the UN and ITU and all. It's really great to test the market with different language, also French for sure, but Italian and German, and also English. So it's really a small country with very large possibilities.
Yeah, very international landscape, isn't it?
Exactly.
The organizations, definitely. Marcel, back to you. So from the Innosuisse standpoint, can you tell us about the how you work with startups? So
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So we have, I would say, for startups, we have 4 main activities. The very first one is really just awareness raising and knowledge transfer. So what we do is we do courses for startups where we convey all the knowledge that is needed for startups or for future entrepreneurs. So what are the skills, what are the necessary requirements to really fund the company, but also at the later stage, then how do I grow my company? Then the core of what we do with Innosuisse with startups is coaching. So we provide you support from persons and entrepreneurs who have undergone the very same route as you decided to go to. So we accredited almost 200 coaches, Innosuisse coaches. Those are either past entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs with a successful track record, or really specialists with special know-how that is needed as a startup entrepreneur, such as IP lawyers, legal specialists, reimbursement specialists, pitch trainers, you name it. So this is the main activity that Innosuisse undertakes. So we help you with sparring. And then there's also the whole internationalization support that we did. So I elaborated before that. So with camps and trade shows. And there's other services that are also very worth mentioning, such as EEN. This is your Enterprise Europe Network that helps you connect and identify research partner, but also business partners abroad, innovation projects where also startups can apply. This is really the funding that helps startups to also find the research partner, finance the research partner, and then bring the innovation really to the market. And yeah, I said knowledge transfer. So we support a lot of events, matchmaking events included, such as this one here. Yeah.
Right. I know, Sylvain, that you've given many pieces of advice already, but would you give some best tips to the audience?
Oh, wow. What a
Lots
challenge.
program, yeah. Well, we have only 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that. No, it's not going to last for an hour.
Oof, I'm lucky. No, it's really to don't, as I already mentioned, don't start your business development abroad alone or with 1 or 2 contacts. We are here and we do our best to create together and add value for supporting you in your journey, in your business development journey worldwide. So it doesn't matter if you contact Innosuisse or Trust Valley or Switzerland or another organization. We speak together, and it's really to start with the correct question. Don't have too many a priori, meaning it will be easy or it will be difficult. I have to go to the Silicon Valley for sure because I know it's very sexy and I will be successful. No, okay, we will start together with a correct question, maybe less sexy than speaking about Silicon Valley or Singapore or China. I don't know what. We will speak probably about France and Germany and Italy first, and UK, Spain, and then we will see other countries maybe later on. But it's really to join us. We are federal or regional organizations financed mainly by public budgets. So it's a great opportunity for you startups to join us for, as I mentioned earlier, select the correct market, because it's the first question. Select the correct market, because if you select the wrong market, it will be really difficult for you to have a second chance. And then to join us. Okay, what is the most profitable way for you for developing your business? It's participating to a trade fair like the CES Las Vegas or Vivatech or Mobile World Congress, I don't know, where we are present together, or is directly to contact a reseller or a direct client, or to start a marketing promotion, I don't know what, and starting really at the beginning with questions, which normally an entrepreneur or startups are really doesn't like to solve. It's everything related to taxes, VAT, custom clearance, certification, and so on. And it's really a key element to start with such questions at the beginning of your process, because it's really less sexy, I know, than speaking about new clients, okay? But it's a key element for being successful to start with such reflection at the beginning, because it's very complex. So we are able to support you as well for such questions. So don't start without having the correct overview about everything of your business development journey abroad.
Yeah, start really with a pragmatic preparation. Same kind of question to you, Lenny, before we take a question from the audience. The best tips.
Yes. Don't think that you are David against Goliath. Is it not? You can, you have, you must have to choose your partner, your strategic partner, your customer, and your talent. And I think you have to do that, not alone, but together. And you have to choose the good ecosystem for you. Yes, it's that.
Wow, that was the final point of that session. But then Maria will give the microphone to the question to the audience. No, we've got one already.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Quick question about what can a non-Swiss startup expect from the Swiss ecosystem of startups? Because I guess most of the many programs you describe are for Swiss startups, Swiss-based startup. But if you're not, and you live on the border of Switzerland, what happens?
Maybe I can start, because it's, as I said, one of our mandate to explain to foreigners how it works in Switzerland for setting a business. Switzerland Global Enterprise is also the Swiss partner with Innosuisse of the European Network Enterprise Europe Network, EEN, right? So we are used to receive specific questions for foreigners for developing a business in Switzerland. So you can contact, if you are based in France, you have an EEN partner everywhere in France, and you can contact them and ask for having a business support for doing business in Switzerland, because normally we start exactly the same for a Swiss company interested in having a business development in France. We start with some business contacts without any subsidiary office and employees in the target country. And then we go step by step further with a first employee, with an office, in Paris, I don't know, Lyon or somewhere else. And we go step by step. So it's our job to start with your discussion how doing business in Switzerland. And then when it works, to discuss about maybe how to open a subsidiary or an office here in Switzerland, how to find the correct talent, etc., etc. So don't hesitate to come back to me later on, and I will give you more details about that.
Who else would you like? Yeah, please do.
Well, maybe in one word, I would say excellence. We strive for excellence in Switzerland, and this is what you can expect. So if you contact a Swiss company or organizations, we really always try to do our best to accommodate you.
Yes, just apply to Tech for Trust and test Switzerland.
So it's open
Very
for
pragmatic.
Yeah, go for it. Who's next?
Hello.
Any other question?
Hello, Stepan Kovac from QR Crypto. I have a question regarding the recent changes regarding the fact that Switzerland and Swiss enterprises concretely cannot access anymore to the EU funding for research. Does Innosuisse have a plan to replace the EU in that respect, or what is the plan?
Yeah, this is not a decision that Innosuisse can take unilaterally, as you know, and I think there's also not the last word spoken. Yes, so we are located in the heart of Europe, in the middle of Europe, and we strive to keep the collaborations ongoing beyond the discussions about the framework agreement. So for now, this is at least from my end all I can say. Maybe my colleagues can add to this discussion.
Understood. Thanks.
Yes, it's maybe a little bit too early because okay, we had a political decision, but then okay, we saw some announcements already, but what does it mean exactly? Okay, it's maybe a little bit too early, but let's discuss about that. We are, as I said, member of the EEN program. Through this program, you have an access to some European budgets as well and financing. So maybe we could find another way, another UN, European EU, sorry, foundings for you. We can discuss together later on with pleasure.
Oh, it's full of hope.
Yes. I think it's really that it's too early to talk about that. What I can say is that we don't stop all the things and just continue to do the job on the field, and we will see.
Another question. Oh, that's great. Yes, we're sort of hammered by the warmth.
You, Mr. Sylvain, you said that you have to win in your own country before to try abroad. What is the size of your winning? That means it's a revenue, for example, 1 or 2 million of euros. It's a number of clients. What is the proof that you success in your country before to come to Swiss?
I didn't understand exactly your question. So
you said do not try to go abroad before to win in your local domestic country, business.
You have to start with the domestic market, right?
Yes, yeah. What I understood.
Yeah,
so exactly. When you judge a project to help any kind of applying, maybe you have some minimum of conditions of revenue, number of clients, something like this?
No, not at all. So we have a public mandate. So we are here and we support all companies based in Switzerland. What I wanted to say, according to our experience, it could be a mistake to start directly your business development outside of Switzerland before testing your product or service with local clients, because if you are not successful with clients very close to you, it will be probably difficult and challenging to find other clients, because the other clients will ask, probably it will be the first or second question, how many clients do you have already in your domestic country? If you said, okay, so far it's a little bit difficult, okay, so it will be difficult with me as well as French or American guy. You understand what I mean? So I cannot understand exactly, okay, up to 1 million Swiss francs turnover in Switzerland, you are, okay, no, it's up to your product, your service, your situation, etc. It's the reason why we start with a bilateral discussion with you, and we evaluate according to our experience. Are you ready to start a business on where? And if you want to develop, in any case, without an experience in Switzerland, a business abroad, it's up to you. Of course, you are free. So it's just an advice. So it's just according to our experience, what we can advise to you for avoiding a mistake. Yeah, it could be a big mistake at the end.
Thank you for your advice and your response.
If you don't have any further question, perhaps I have just one last. It's about, yeah, you said about mistake. What is the worst mistake you think of?
If I think about my experience as startupper, it's really to think, okay, I am the best, and everybody around the world is waiting for me. Because I'm sure I have the best product, because I developed this product. So for sure, for me, it's the best one. It's not the best one worldwide, for sure not. So I think it could be one of the biggest mistake. It's okay, it will be easy doing because my product is for sure the best one. So
being self-confident, but not too much ego.
Self-confident for sure, but just evaluate properly your business, competitors, and possibilities you have for developing a business approach. Yes.
Thank you.
I would say to think that I know everything about my clients. So I would ask you and challenge you to go out with your ideas and bring it to your potential clients and ask them for their opinion, because this is in the end what really values. It's not what you think, it's what your clients ultimately think about it. So I would advise you to do that.
Lenny, the final
And to
word.
add something, yes, I think it's all about strategic partners, because when you are a startupper, you want to choose a good partner and think that you will make something with them abroad or internal market, domestic market. And what I have seen sometimes is too emotional. It's not linked to the market, not linked to the business line. And it's really important with your strategic partner to go on this way. It's for that this year. We have seen that last two winter. And we develop a partnership workshop dedicated to that with a startup, the startup who come from Nexting. It's a huge startup, Licorne, yeah, in Switzerland. And this trainer will work with startupper to help them to go with the strategic partner who they need. Right time, good time, right way.
Thanks very much for the panelists and this interesting discussion. So maybe the conclusion and the takeaway of today's roundtable is about the Swiss ecosystem is really rich, but needs to be further promoted probably. Thanks very much.